interactive, very hands-on. So I'm going to do less talking, more demoing, and I'm going to do the real work, so to speak. How many of us are on Facebook? हम में से यहाँ पे जितने भी हैं, कितने लोग जुड़ चुके हैं Facebook से? Wow. और हमारे organizations कितने हैं जो जुड़ चुके हैं Facebook से? सब? Almost सब? क्या बात है? तो आप
सवेरे ये झूठ बोल रहे थे हमसे, सबने ना बोला था।
अच्छा अब सच बताइए। ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, हाँ, जिनका ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जुड़ चुका है फेसबुक से वो हाथ में हाथ ऊपर करें। 50%, ओके। तो आप क्यों जुड़ना चाहते हैं फेसबुक से? Why is this session important for you? आप क्या सीखना चाहते हैं? आप क्या जानना चाहते हैं? आप क्या जानते हैं? कोई भी? Sorry? More? Listenership. Okay, so more listeners basically, or viewership.
Increase or outreach?
Outreach. So basically engagement as well as reach. Right? Okay. And how many of us have used it successfully? हम में से किन किन लोगों ने इस्तेमाल किया है फेसबुक का और उससे कुछ पाया है आपने? हाँ, पर्सनल बताइए।
मुझे अपने कॉलेज फ्रेंड्स वापस मिले फेसबुक से और जो बहुत टाइम से लोग नहीं मिल पाते थे वो मिलते हैं। वो कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट है किसी कैंपेन के बारे में डालते हैं।
मेरे कुछ इवेंट जो है वो बहुत लोगों के पास पहुंचते हैं फोटोज डालने के लिए।
और क्या इवेंट था?
कुछ ड्रामा के इवेंट्स थे या अलग अलग इवेंट्स थे। एक सम्मेलन था हमारे दोस्तों का, पुराने साथियों का, वो इवेंट्स बहुत लोगों के पास
तो मतलब लोगों को ज़्यादातर पता है कि फेसबुक क्या है, हम क्या कर सकते हैं, और हम में से ऐसे लोग हैं जिन्होंने करा है लेकिन पूरा जो उसका बेनिफिट है नहीं पाया। Fair enough to assume? Okay. So let's get to it. There was a very interesting quote I came up with, very relevant for the audience as well. If searching for the news was the most important development of the last decade, sharing the news is the most important of the next. Now, this is, अगर इस quote को देखा जाए तो आप सोचेंगे नहीं यार ठीक है, न्यूज़ के मामले में तो हाँ, it makes sense. But ये आपके लिए क्यों इतना applicable है? कौन बोल सकता है? You're on the field of communication. यहाँ पे जितने भी लोग हैं वो बाहर अपने viewers, अपने readers, अपने listeners के साथ communicate करना चाहते हैं। लेकिन यहाँ पे एक बहुत important keyword है, sharing the news. Social media or Facebook is not about just consuming news, right? There's a very definitive call to action, which is share. मैं फिर से बोलता हूँ इसको हिंदी में। सोशल मीडिया जो माध्यम है वो ऐसे एक माध्यम नहीं है जहाँ पे आप बस आप कंज्यूम करें, आप सुन ले, पढ़ ले, देख ले, अपने पास रखें। नहीं, हमारे पास एक लाइक बटन है, कमेंट बटन है, शेयर बटन है। अब आप अगर अपना बिजनेस, अपना ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, अपना रेडियो चला रहे हैं, आप इसका पूरा जो जूस है कैसे निचोड़ सकते हैं, वो आज उसके बारे में बात करेंगे। फेसबुक पर दुनिया भर 1 billion users हैं। There are 1 billion, more than a billion users who are on Facebook. कितने लोगों बता सकते हैं यहाँ पे कि भारत में कितने लोगों हैं जो फेसबुक से जुड़ चुके हैं? How many users in India? Barring Osama, who can tell us? इंटरनेट पे कितने यूजर्स हैं? It's a little tricky. And no using search. Don't search. Top of mind. Ballpark figure. Facebook पे कितने users हैं? अंदाजा लगाइए।
जो लोग मुझे फॉलो करते हैं वो तो बताओ भाई, नहीं तो मुझे फॉलो क्यों करते हो?
86 मिलियन सर।
86 million.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who said that? You. Okay. So 86 million is one guess. 40 million. Okay. Starting low. और कौन बता सकता है? Last guess. Is it close to 86 or close to 40?
86 sir.
Close to 86. Yeah, so our numbers officially are more than 82 million users are on Facebook in India. Now, again, going back to the global stats, more than 874 million, I'm going to stand here so everyone can see, more than 874 million users are active on Facebook just through mobile. 727 million users logged into Facebook 6 out of 7 days. मैं फिर से बोल देता हूँ उसको हिंदी में. 874 what's that? 874 ऐसे लोग हैं जो फेसबुक को खाली अपने मोबाइल से इस्तेमाल करते हैं, यानी अपने दोस्तों, अपने बिजनेसेस, अपने फैमिली, अपने फ्रेंड्स से जुड़ते हैं खाली फेसबुक मोबाइल से. और ऐसे ही 700 से ज़्यादा 700 मिलियन से ज़्यादा यूजर्स ऐसे हैं जो फेसबुक पर 7 दिन में से 6 दिन लॉगिन करते हैं. Now why is mobile such an important number? मोबाइल जो बता रहा हूँ ये नंबर, ठीक है सुनने में तो सही है, हाँ 800 मिलियन यूजर्स जॉइन फेसबुक ऑन मोबाइल, बट ये आपके लिए क्यों इम्पोर्टेंट है? आप ये सोचिए, जब आप मेट्रो में जा रहे हैं घर वापस, मान लो आप क्या करते हैं फेसबुक पर, मोबाइल पर अपडेट्स के साथ क्या करते हैं? शेयर करते हैं, म्यूजिक सुनते हैं, अपडेट करते हैं, शेयरिंग करते हैं, कमेंट, है ना? तो आप कंज्यूम भी कर रहे हो इन्फॉर्मेशन को और अपने दोस्तों के साथ भी शेयर कर रहे हो. तो आप अगर जब आप सब यहाँ पे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के रूप में है ना, आप जो स्ट्रैटेजी है, आप अपने आप को एक यूजर की तरह समझिए. जब आप घर जा रहे हैं वापस मेट्रो पर, जब आप अपने साथ अपना मोबाइल पर फेसबुक खोलते हैं तो क्या करते हैं? That is the essence to your social media strategy, right? How would I as a user like to see my own content? And what would I like to do with it? एक तो ये है कि आपने content publish कर दिया, लेकिन users जो आपके fans हैं वो क्या चाहते हैं? Right? What do you want out of them? आप चाहते हैं कि आप वापस वेबसाइट पे जाएं, वो एक गोल हो सकता है. आप चाहते हैं कि वहीं से अपना जो भी आपका शो है वो सुने, वो भी एक गोल हो सकता है. आपका दूसरा गोल हो सकता है कि आप आपके दोस्तों के साथ शेयर करें, तो आपका आउटरीच हो जाता है, राइट? सो दीज आर द थिंग्स दैट यू नीड टू कीप इन माइंड. सोशल मीडिया इज नॉट जस्ट अबाउट पुशिंग कंटेंट, इट्स अबाउट पुलिंग एज वेल. देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ म्यूचुअलिटी इन्वॉल्व्ड. आप अपना कंटेंट यू पब्लिश्ड, नाउ व्हाट डू यू वांट योर यूजर्स टू डू विद इट? बिकॉज getting onto Facebook is one thing, but what is your goal? Why do you want to join Facebook? What users are you targeting? So let me ask that question and we'll just go by aggregate. What is the segment of our users that we're targeting? 18 to 24, 25 to 34? Just if you could give me an estimate. Anyone?
Anyone who are using Facebook?
No, so what is your core demographic? Is it male, is it female, or is it both?
Is it totally patriarchal? Is it male?
Mostly male. Okay. What about the rest of you? What is your demographic? No, don't think about Facebook at all, right? Put everything aside. What I want you to focus on, what is your goal as an organization? Who is your ideal candidate as a fan, as a listener, as a viewer, as a reader? Is it male, is it female? Mostly both. Okay, what age group? 18 to 24 or 25 to 34, etc.? How would you classify your ideal candidate? Across the age groups. So this gentleman said 18 to 50. So let's just say all age groups. But the challenge with that is something that will appeal to a youth might not necessarily appeal to someone who's not a youth, but is a youth at heart. Let's just put that as a safe way. What you want to do is break down your channels, right? For example, a photo is something that appeals to everyone, right? Because what you see is pretty much what you get. So how would you go about, given that you are a radio, how would you promote your radio through a photo? And like I said, I am not going to do the talking here. You guys are going to do the talking. So there's going to be a lot of dead air and a lot of silence. I'm going to keep prodding you along. Your organization needs to promote its channel through photos on Facebook, for example. How would you go about doing that?
इतने सारे प्रोजेक्ट चलते रहते हैं रेडियो पे,
हाँ जी.
काम चलता रहता है.
हाँ.
लेकिन ऐसी लिसनरशिप भी होती है, ऐसे लोग भी होते हैं फेसबुक पे जो आपके जोन से तो हैं जहाँ से आप रेडियो चलाते हैं, लेकिन क्या पता वो रेडियो नहीं सुन पाते हैं। लोगों के अपने अपने रीजंस हैं, नहीं सुन पाते हो। लेकिन रेडियो के साथ साथ आउटरीच एक्टिविटीज़ जो हम करते हैं फील्ड पे जाकर, फेसबुक पे जो फोटो अपलोड कर रहे हैं वो भी बहुत ज़बरदस्त आउटरीच एक्टिविटी है जो बहुत ज़्यादा दिनों तक रह सकती है। मतलब उसका मतलब आर्काइव है तो बहुत दिनों तक रहेगा। एक एक्टिव ने फील्ड पे करी, एक इवेंट किया, उसमें खत्म, कुछ पब्लिश न्यूज़ में छप गया। लेकिन जब वो फेसबुक पे आ जाती है तो वो बहुत ज़्यादा दिनों तक, मतलब उसका तो कोई लिमिटेशन हमारे हाथ में है ना, उसको अगर डिलीट करेंगे तो तब गायब होगा, नहीं तो वो अनलिमिटेड आवर्स, अनलिमिटेड डेज तक के लिए वो एक स्टोर है, ताकि कोई भी व्यक्ति बार बार आके देख सकता है कि ये इवेंट हुआ था। और इट्सेल्फ वो अपने आप में एक डॉक्यूमेंटेशन है बहुत ज़बरदस्त तरीके का, ये ऐसा कुछ काम हुआ था।
एग्जैक्टली। और उसका एक और मैं बेनिफिट बता देता हूँ कि अगर आप फोटो यूज करें, सो इफ यू आर यूजिंग फोटोज, द बिगेस्ट बेनिफिट इज इट इज viewable on all devices, right? It's viewable on laptops, it's viewable on tablets, it's viewable on smartphones, but most importantly, and because this is the demographic that we live in, it's viewable on feature phones, the basic phones that people carry, which just has about a GPRS connection, they can just about connect to the web. It is accessible over there. Now Facebook in India supports 12 to 14 different Indian languages. Right? So when you're thinking about outreach, A, you've got language that is supported by Facebook. 2, we're giving you a distribution channel of 82 million, which is just unprecedented. यहाँ पे ऐसा कोई भी माध्यम नहीं है जो 8 lakhs, 80 lakhs, 80 lakh people लोग से आपको जुड़वा सकता है. C, we're giving you the best way to do it. Right? You have photos, you have mobile, people have internet activity going on.
Not 80 lakh.
8 crore,
8 crore.
8 crores. I knew something was wrong with that. Thank you. Exactly. 8 crores. So we're giving you a very big audience. We're giving you the tools to do it. And that's what we want to focus on today. And as I keep going along with the slides, this is just going to be like a background, so to speak. I want you guys to come up with your problem statements. Ask me, Anjan, this is my organization. This is the biggest challenge we're facing. So if it's outreach, how can I solve for outreach using Facebook? If it's about distribution, there are a lot of social applications out there that you could use. For example, how many of us have heard of a tool called SoundCloud? Very few amount of people. Now what is SoundCloud and why is it important? Sorry.
To share audio bits.
Exactly. So what you can do is basically upload a file that's audio in nature, put it onto SoundCloud. SoundCloud is a platform that uses Facebook as its base, right? So the experience is very social. So every user, they can either log into SoundCloud with their own email address or they log in with Facebook. They listen to a song or a sound or a file or a show and it's sent back to their Facebook profile saying Anjan just listened to X file by A organization. What is that doing? A, it's promoting your show, right, to a user who's never been there before. B, it's telling his friends that, you know, here's a show called XYZ by this organization and Anjan just listened to it. So it's important for you too, or maybe you want to check it out too. So that is solving for your outreach problem. Alright? Now, globally there are more than 125 billion friend connections on Facebook. On an average, more than 300 million photos are uploaded on Facebook every day. An average of 3.2 billion likes, comments, and shares are generated by Facebook users. And these really are our engagement statistics, right? So the other side was identity. This is engagement. There's a lot of engagement happening on Facebook. It's not a one-way platform. It's a lot about you sharing stuff. It's a lot about your friends engaging with it. It's a lot about you as a business promoting yourself, and it's a lot about your fans engaging with your content. Now this is something that we've already spoken about. More than 82 million monthly active users on Facebook in India, with more than 75% of these users active just through mobile. Now how many of us over here use Facebook on our mobile? Honest answers. Okay, so it's a little below what is the average. So I'll try to then cater to your experiences as well. Well, this is just kind of our philosophy really. As a platform, we've moved from just being like a mobile first company to a mobile best company. And what that means really is our impetus, our focus is about you as a user, you as an organization, you as a business to have the best experience on a mobile, right? So be it photo creation, photo uploading, videos, comments, likes, everything should be beautifully experienced on any device that you have that's mobile in nature. Be it a feature phone, which most of our users in India have, or if it's an Android or an iOS device. Now, another pop quiz coming up. Who can tell me what is the most engaged time of day for Indian users? At what time of the day are Indian users most active or engaged? Night, evening, afternoon,
After 10.
dawn,
After 10.
pre-dawn.
9 to 10.
Our users are always engaged, they never sleep.
After
Right, is that the answer?
After 10.
After 10, okay.
10 p.m.
And then is that because people have stopped listening to Arnab Goswami? You all laughed, thank you, you got a joke. So the answer is actually 9 to 10. This is stats that we've recently pulled, and we found that most of our users in India are active between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m.
So you are catching prime time.
Exactly.
Prime time, you all can donate your TV for the communities in rural India.
Alright, so more data really. About the average Indian user or the average user in the Indian subcontinent has about 130 friends in average. So what does that mean from a targeting perspective? We use the help of some graphics. Now, think about you as an organization. Today you might have 100 fans. That's a good start. Don't think about numbers. Whenever you're starting your social media campaign, don't think about the numbers. But think about that fan. You have 100 fans. Think about that one super active, engaged fan, somebody who really cares about your organization, your shows that you're producing, the content that you're generating. Think about making him or her your champion, so to speak, right? Because they're always coming back to your page. They're always talking about your brand, your show, your content, and they're sharing that. Now, when they share that, that has the potential to go to at least, or on an average, 130 other people who've never heard about your brand, who've never heard about your show, who've never heard about the work that you do. That right there is your opportunity. So your goal is to start off with that one fan, to make that one fan active, connected, passionate about what you're doing, and give them a call to action. Basically give them a reason to like, comment, or share anything that you're posting. Because when they do that, it has the potential to go to about 130 of their friends. Then phase 2 of your goal is target those 130 people. Get them active, goal, really. If it is outreach, what am I trying to really promote? Am I promoting the show? Am I promoting my brand? Am I promoting my website? Because sometimes we think that they're the same, but when we think about breaking them into the tools that we want to use, they're very different, right? Let's say if I have a video show, I might just use Facebook videos and plant them on people's websites, right? Because they're easily shareable. So in that case, I don't necessarily have to create a page, I could keep it on my website. Similarly, my goal is to promote just the website. Then there are two things that you could do. Either create a page and divert traffic back to your website, or use a social plugin. Okay? What we've also done is, and this can be equally relevant for you. So let's say that you guys have, the producer of the show, or whoever, do you call them RJs only? Like radio jockeys, or you have another term for people who host the shows? RJs? Right. So let's say that they are very prominent or very, influential in your area and what you do. What you could do is also tell them to get on Facebook, right? And let them advocate for your page, for your brand, for your video, for your content on their profile, right? So what you're doing is, you're using all your resources to promote your content. And why we always recommend a Facebook page is because you get this central identity on the web, right? Every time I want to connect, with our friends from Tamil Nadu, I will go back to their page because I see it on my newsfeed. It's social, it's shareable, it has a lot of content that is not there on the website. So think about those things when you're developing your strategy. And what I've shown here is basically a couple of really influential people. Fareed Zakaria is, as most of us know, an anchor on CNN. He's on Facebook and he uses it very, very actively. Nicholas Kristof, New York Times, very, very influential. He uses his profile to promote not only the content from CNN, from the New York Times, but also whatever he's doing in terms of his day-to-day life, the show that he's creating, etc. Now, at the end of this, the last thing I want you guys to go home confused with is the difference between a profile and a page. They are very different. Profile is for me as an individual to connect with friends. Pages is something for me as a business to connect with fans, right? Profile equals friends, pages equals fans. Understood? Because if you're a business and if you create a profile, that's against our terms of service, and if somebody reports it, we will take it down. Which means that if you've been investing in that channel, you're going to lose a lot of your data. So the last thing I want you guys to do is create a profile instead of a page. The simple way to identify what a page is, if you are creating a page, is facebook.com/pages. And then it says create page, right? The flow that we just did. That's the way you create a Facebook page. Now, other than just the policy perspective, there's a lot of difference, right? A profile you can use for friends. It's great in terms of your timeline, privacy controls, layout, etc. But the benefits for an organization are hugely, hugely on the pages side, which is Facebook Insights, custom tabs and applications. You can make multiple people admins for your page. You can target people by location and language. You can promote with ads and sponsored stories, right? So when you're going back, your strategy should really revolve around a Facebook page. So we've heard a lot today. There's a lot of information that we've consumed. And the biggest question that I'm guessing, which is there on people's mind, is where do we start? So we know what Facebook is now. We kind of know how to use it. We know that we have to create a Facebook page, but where do we start? Where do we start? I dropped a couple of hints before. Where do we start?
Facebook.com and then /
Perfect. So that is the technical answer. That's exactly where we start, facebook.com/pages. Right? That's where we start technically. But in terms of your strategy, where do we start? What do we do? What's the number one thing that we want to do? Right? Answer. Sorry?
Show your existence.
Show your existence? Yes. How will you show your existence? How do you show that you exist? And don't give me a technical answer. From an organization's perspective, how do you show that you exist? That is the answer.
Posting the relevant content.
Exactly. So what I would term that as, and that's exactly what it is, it's storytelling. Right? It's the right content. Today you have a good sense of who your fans are. Today you have a good sense of who you want to target and who you want to communicate with. How you communicate is your stories. Right? You start with identity. Who am I as an organization? Why do I need you as a fan? Where do I begin with? And then you tell them stories like, okay, and I'm again going to use the example because yours is the only example I have. We are an organization based in Tamil Nadu. We want to help the women of Tamil Nadu whose primary source of income is based on the jobs that they do on the field, who don't have access to internet technologies, phone technologies, etc. This is where you can help. This is the work that we've done. Right? So always think about people, because as a platform, Facebook is all about people and their relationships. If you think about every product that we have, everything that we've designed is social. Keeping in mind people, keeping in mind their relationships. Like I mentioned, Newsfeed, that's such a big product for us, is exactly that, right? We've kept people in mind and we've kept their relationships in mind to give them relevant content. The same principle, the same strategy is something that you should adopt. Who are your fans? In terms of where are they coming from? What language do they speak? What do they like, dislike? What are they telling me and not telling me? And build that relationship with them. And provide an experience that's built around them, their friends and their interests. Yeah? Because if I see something I don't care about, why would I like it? Why would I engage with it? Why? Think about the last time you ever went to a party that you never cared about. Did you ever go to a party that you never cared about? No. Did you ever read a book that you never liked? That you knew you're not going to like? No. You read something, you discover new content, you try new things because of the experience that there's some shared experience, right? So provide that for them. And we've already spoken about how you can use pages, but there are a few other tools that are social in nature that you could use. For example, notes. Notes is a great way or another alternative to, let's say, a blog. And again, this is just optional, right? But let's say, you don't spend time developing a blog. You have one guy, because resources is a constraint for us. So how do we use Facebook to the maximum potential? You can use a Facebook note, and it is stored or it is archived in your page's history. So fans can then go back to, let's say, August 2012 and see that, you created a note called Empowering Women in Rural India through community radios. And they can see what you did. So notes is a great example. But, like I mentioned, Facebook is not just a top-down approach. It's not just pushing content. Involve fans. Ask them questions, saying, we've just finished episode 1 of our show, for example. I'm not sure how you guys strategize this, but let's say, you finished one season. What did you think? What did you like? What did you not like? What should our next show be? What should the next theme be? Which is the next city we should target, right? And even if you don't actually go ahead and do that, right? Let's be honest, not all of us can, cater to the needs of 1 million, but it gives fans or it gives users a sense of belonging, a sense of interest that, okay, here is an organization that is potentially revolving their strategy around what I say, right? So it's giving fans this spotlight. And you will find that there are a lot of people who actually care about movements and social causes. Highlight them, showcase them, say, okay, last month we got this guy called Anjan from Noida who's really passionate about our cause, and tag that person, or maybe put up a photo of them. Of course, ask their permission, but take their photo and say, this is a guy from Noida who is really passionate about our cause, and we really thank this guy. Now, what that's doing is, it makes Anjan feel on top of the world, right? But for you, again, think about numbers, think about metrics. Every time you tag a user, it goes back to their friend's newsfeed saying, Anjan was tagged in a photo by X organization. And their friends, my friends are going to be like, what organization is this? Let me check them out. Right? So you're getting your traffic back to your page. These are fans who've never heard of you before. Another way for you to increase your outreach. Hashtags. I don't know if you guys use hashtags. Have you guys used hashtags before? Heard about hashtags? No. So what hashtag basically is when you create a piece of content, let's say, we go back to our test page. I'm just going to type gibberish over here, say fine. But let's say that this particular piece of content is associated with, let's say, a topic or a theme. A hashtag kind of associates that piece of content with that theme. So let's say we empowerment, for example. So this post is about empowerment. So when fans see a post like this, they'll know that this is a post about empowerment. So it gives them context before even reading, right? Similarly, as a user, I can see all posts that were tagged with empowerment. Now, if you're launching a movement, let's say, the lady over here was talking about a health camp. You could call it Health Camp 2013. And similarly, track how many of your fans are using this in their posts. Alright? So it's another way for you to track how well your campaign is doing, as well as to organize, categorize, and trendify. Something that we've spoken about before, but I'll repeat again. Crowdsourcing the wisdom of people. Your best champions are your fans. Encourage them, engage with them, discuss with them, and make them feel part of this movement. And if you are asking them for questions, highlight it somewhere. You could also use messages. I would say I would discourage messages a little, but it's an option. I discourage messages. Why? Because let's say you have 2,000 fans and all of them message. It's very hard for you to track those conversations. Also, it does nothing for you in terms of numbers, in terms of metrics. It doesn't get added to people talking about this, or it's very hard to, it's not social basically. So I would say encourage them to write on your wall and reply to your posts. But this is an option. Now, insights. And this is the last bit before I open it up to any questions if you have any. Let's say, today you realize, Anjan came and spoke to us, said photos is the best way to go, you should ask questions, you should do X, Y, and Z, and you do that for a month. And you see no increase in your fans, no increase in your people talking about this. How do you realize what's going wrong, where it is going wrong? Where would you go? Hint, the answers on the screen. Where would you go? Insights, exactly. So the way you would do this is every page, for anyone who does have a page, this is where you would go. Can you just open it up? Am I missing it?
You're not the administrator of this page or what?
No, I am.
But you not made it public,
Oh,
now you're not
so
public.
yeah, exactly. So this is not a public page, but basically what you would do is you would see a little tab over here that says View Insights. Actually, hang on. Yeah. Exactly, but I don't have enough, I just have one fan and that's me, so I don't have any insights. But what you would do is this little tab over here, you can click over that and it'll expand your insights, and that tells you exactly who your fans are, where they're coming from, which language do they speak, are they coming to your page through mobile, are they coming to you on desktop, are they engaging with your photos, are they engaging with your links, and everything of that sort. Do you have a question? Do you have a question, sir? Question? No. And this is what it would look like. It gives you a detailed map, like exactly what you need to know. How many of your fans do you have? How many people have recently liked you? How many people is your post reaching? Again, reach is very, very important, and it's tied into the number of people that are talking about your page. How much of engagement is happening? What was your most recent post? And what were the numbers associated with that? How many people was it reaching? How many people were talking about it, etc. This kind of gives you a good sense of where your likes came from. Are they coming by posts by others? So this would basically mean that a lot of your fans are talking about your page, and that's how new fans are coming back to your page. Or have they searched for your page or discovered your page at some point of time and then liked it? This is where they're coming. Basically, are they coming from mobile? And others could be like your website, it could be applications, it could be a host of other things. Any questions? I know that this is a lot of information to consume in about an hour, but if you have questions, do let me know. Yes?
Recently, I had a very worst experience.
Okay.
I have my account in Yahoo. My Yahoo email ID was pulled by the hackers, and they have sent through my email ID that I am in Indonesia for a workshop, and all my purse were stolen by the thieves, and I don't have any money. And as if I am asking some money from my friends.
Yeah.
This was sent to all my friends, all my contacts. Hackers are everywhere.
Yeah.
But do we have any sort of hackers for this Facebook? Because we are keeping everything regarding us.
Good question. Very, very good question. So the question is basically, we're investing so much time, we're giving a lot of information on our profile and our pages. Is there a way that Facebook can kind of help us in the event of our account getting hacked? The answer is yes. If your account is hacked, what you do is visit facebook.com/hacked, and it will basically tell you that, okay, my account is compromised, and it will give you steps as to how you can secure your account. So if ever you find yourself in a situation where communication is not going from you and your account is hacked, visit facebook.com/hacked, and that will then help you secure your account. Alright, moving more on to this. This tab I find very interesting because we've recently launched this in terms of our insights. And a lot of people say, Anjan, what is the best time for us to publish our content? When are our fans most actively engaged? And there are so many studies on the internet that talk about general statistics. And one statistic I mentioned was that fans are mostly active in India between 9 to 10 p.m. But it might just be that your fans are not active between 9 to 10 p.m. They're active from 2 to 3. And where you would go to find out that information is on Insights and on the tab that says when your fans are online. And what that does is it beautifully kind of highlights what day are most of your fans active and at what time. Right? So this curve over here shows that around X time of day, a lot of your fans are logging in, whereas at this time, your fans are dipping, which means it's probably not the right time for you to post, whereas this chunk over here is. A few tips I would leave you guys with. Again, important. And normally what I do is kind of provide like an exercise, but you guys can do that on your own. When you're thinking about your Facebook page and your social strategy, think about what your voice is. How do you want to communicate with your fans? Are you going to be formal, not formal? We actually did an exercise with the Digital Empowerment Foundation some time ago during a workshop like this. And what I would encourage is kind of paint a character to your page. Like what fans want to do is connect with the person and not with some ubiquitous, anonymous entity on the web. They want to connect with the person. So what you would do is you would describe your tone, kind of give them a character. Create a conversation between your page and your fans. Offer exclusive content and programs, and by that what we mean is basically give your fans a reason to keep coming back to your page. Right? So say if ever there's going to be a campaign, or if ever there's going to be any backstage, behind the scenes photos, you're going to find that exclusively on Facebook. Right? So what that does is for your fans, it gives them incentive to come back to your page. Make supporters the stars, like I mentioned. Tag them. Use photos of them with their permission. Basically, create like this sense of aura that this movement is not really driven by us, but is driven by our fans, and these are our fans. Push and pull. Again, it's not top down. It's a lot of inclusivity. It's a lot about engaging. It's a lot about dialogue, etc. If you guys want, I would say take a photo of this. It's really a checklist of some of the things that you should be doing to optimize your page for greater engagement. If you guys want, take a picture right now before I move on. We don't usually give copies, so I would encourage you to take a photo, but I think these guys are recording the session anyway.
We will send a copy to Anjan if he loses his.
Groups in your talk. Facebook groups in your talk.
Yes, so the reason why, yes, good question. We do talk about groups, but when you think about your identity on the graph, on Facebook, it's essential to start off with a page. Now groups work really well for different goals, right? Like I mentioned, think about what your goal is. And I'll give you an example. The NASCOM Foundation, they wanted to start a community for their gamers, right? So the first thing they did is they created a Facebook page. But what they found is that people weren't really actively engaged with that piece of content. Why? Because they wanted to create